I realised that the arrow was facing the wrong way. Let's get into it. We are signed back on and we're going to VW action. The Thompson Motorsport division doesn't yet have proper bolts. That's it, all the way to the top. So we're going to find somewhere to mount this, pipe it back up. Operation 13. Spuds, good boy. What's happening, you lot? We are back from a very, very successful first race weekend at bodging. 14.1. I wanted 499, 14.1, nearly a second faster than that. I could never have dreamed of it. But now we're fighting for tenths. We are signed back on and we're going to VW action in 3 weeks' time. And we've got a page and a half, 2 pages of Operation 13 to get done. So the things that we're going to get done for Operation 13 and try and grab those 2 tenths, because we want to go into the 13s. We're 14.1 now. It's all about the 13s, 12s, 11s, 10s, 9s. Bank balance gone. But Operations 13, we're going to start with maintenance, so engine oil and filter, because after this picture, when Robbie decided to try my oil in the pairing lanes, it stunk. Even though we've changed it once, there's a lot of caked up stuff in there that we need to replace the oil again, because it was black and it smelled. But so engine oil and filter. Gearbox oil, never know when it's been changed. Gearbox making the right racket. It did get stuck in the last video if you watched the bodging. So we're going to change the gearbox oil. Then we're going to take the front bumper off and we're going to clean the intercooler, because when we did the cam belt there was some oil in the pipes, so I think the intercooler might have a bit of engine oil in it as well, which is not going to help cooling at all. So that's going to help with cooling. Whilst the bumper's off, we're going to cut some new air vent holes in the bumper to get even more cooling to that intercooler, because there is a quarter of the intercooler that's not getting fresh air to it at the moment. Also on the air, we're going to add a new air box, which come with the ram filter. It was in the box of goodies. Like, remember, this car, we are learning as we go, and there's a box of goodies that came with the car, and I actually thought it was a turbo heat shield for the gearbox drive shafts, but it isn't. It's actually for the ram air filter, so we're going to fit that today as well. And then the setup, we know the tracking's off, we know the camber's off on that passenger side wheel, but we're taking our time, remember. So we're going to do the tracking. We've got a camber gauge on its way, and we're going to do the camber. And I've been looking into front wheel drive cars, and especially drag. You need to have a negative camber, so as you launch off the line, you leave, your wheels move and it lifts, they then go back to 0 and you get maximum tyre spread engagement on the ground. So that's going to do with tracking, camber. Fan override switch. So I noticed that the car got really warm and it performed better when it was actually below 50 degrees, not the 90 that it wants to sit at. And when it was like bodging was nearly 30 degrees outside, the car just couldn't deal with the heat and couldn't get it out fast enough. So I'm going to put a fan override switch in so we can turn it on ourselves in the car. Then aerodynamics, we're going for these tenths, remember. So we've got some panels down the front that have got fog light holes in. We're going to smooth those off, and we're also going to take the wind mirrors off and smooth where the wind mirrors should be. Why not? It's a race car, it's my car, I do what I want, heading for the 13s. We'll argue about that when we're doing 13s. And then last but not least, smaller wheels and new tyres, or just fresh new tyres, because we have only got ditch finders on the front. We've got cheap budgets on the front. There are no specific, they're not even a top rated road tyre, let alone race tyre. So getting the heat in them is a nightmare, but they are our last thing that I might do. Due to having the big brakes on the front, obviously I can't get a very smaller wheel. I think I'd squeeze a 16 on there, but is there much point? I think with everything else on the list, we can grab those 2 tenths and be into the 13s, and then change the brakes after we've done a track day in Bolt, and then change the front brakes to get a smaller wheel on. But last but not least, I might spend some money on some tyres. Now I'm glad that the R888s didn't fix. I've done some research on the R888s, and because they are a track tyre and the compound of them, they obviously get heat in them as you're doing laps. We don't get to do laps in a straight line. We do a quick burnout, get a bit of heat in, and then that's all you're getting. So they don't actually get hot enough, and they're more of like a slick, they're a circuit tyre, they ain't any good. So I've been looking at the Accelera 651s. They're a road tyre / track tyre, a lot less harder compound than the R888, and Robbie, who you saw in the last video, actually run a 12.8 on those tyres. So that'll be the last. Engine oil and filter, gearbox oil, clean out the intercooler, new air vents for the intercooler, fit the airbox, track and camber, fan override switch, front aero panels, front wing mirrors, smaller wheels and tyres, or just tyres, last but not least. Let's get into it. Operation 13. So we took the car out, we've got it nice and warm. Got the gearbox and the oil, engine, nice and warm. Now I've got to jack it up because it's too low to get anything to catch the oil. Then start letting it drain out. Jacking it up then. Good boy. That's it. All the way to the top. Nice one. Spuds. Good boy. Just listen to this gearbox. I'm expecting this oil to be like water, but we'll ignore that gearbox noise for a bit. Seb did keep saying diff, but diff and gearbox make big money. 13's first, diff and gearbox at some other point. So car's now jacked up. Gonna get the right tools for the sump plug and the drain on the gearbox. And there's actually a like a fill hole on the side which you have to release on the gearbox too, because otherwise you get a vacuum. Same with the engine. Always make sure you've got the engine cap off, because otherwise you get like a vacuum and the oil won't drop out quick enough. So we've got this 13mm here, which is for the engine oil, and the filter is here, which is just a twist off. And then this is the fill. That's the fill cap for the gearbox we need to take out to stop the vacuum, and that is the drain. So we keep all these from the truck, AdBlue, because I'm going to use, we've got one that we use to drain stuff, and then one to put the dirty oils in to throw them away. Right, so just draining the, Archie's just picking all the spanners he needs. I'm trying not to bang it on the bodywork. That's not the bodywork. But we've got the sump plug out, and what you want to look for is there much metal on there? It's like you don't have a great time smashing Daddy's car up. So what you look for on the sump plug is there much swarf on there, metal bits? And there isn't, so that's a good sign. So we're using these to get the filter off. You put it round, and as you undo it, it tightens itself up, and these little notches here grip and undo it, and then do it back up by hand. Only needs nipping, and then you nip it back up with this, making sure that the rubber seal's nice and clean. So get the nip off there, and get it down, and then rest by hand and get the bucket back underneath it to catch what oil drops out. So do the same with the gearbox. Drain, not too much metal, which is good, but there is this sludge, this brown sludge where you can see I've wiped this bit off and have it there, which suggests this is pretty old oil. So good that we've done the change. The old filter, new filter. We've checked that the rubbers match up, and they are the same. That one's a little bit more beefy, but I think it's okay. It's just a different brand of filter. They're still the same size. Cleaned up the face up there on the oil where the oil filter's going to screw, and we're literally going to take this straight up. Trying to show you guys what I'm doing, but it's very tight down here. So we've cleaned this face up here, any debris, and then this goes up into there. Try and get around that pipe for you. Now, some people do say hands enough. You don't want to go too tight, but I am going to get the tool and just nip it just a little bit more than my hand. We do not want that spilling off there. So I'm going to be really nice to the car as it's jacked up on the tilt. I'm going to let the engine oil just keep dripping out and get as much of that bad engine oil out as possible, while we work out how we're going to refill the gearbox oil. because we've got to try and get it in there, which, if I zoom out, is on the side of the gearbox. We need some sort of funnel and pipe, which I did know and didn't purchase. So let's see what we can find in the garage. And literally as I sat up, no joke, I know I've got a funnel somewhere, so we still need that funnel. What's this? AdBlue is flying. So I need to try and get it down there. We're gonna have to fill it from up here. But firstly, does it fit in the old Chic Ride? Oh, you absolute beauty. Okay, so we just need to work our way to get that up, find my funnel, and then we can just fill it from the top. That was quick. Literally lay in this position here. They were there, sat up, spoke to you guys, turned, bosh. AdBlue to the rescue. I'm always saying to Alex, keep everything. Why have we got 3 of these AdBlue things? Well, one's now catching that. We've used it to catch antifreeze as well, and coolant. And now we're going to fill the old oil in one of those, and we can now take it and dispose of it properly. If anybody needs it to use as a heater fluid, let me know, I can drop it off. We've got a funnel into an AdBlue, into an AdBlue, into the gearbox. Take our time, it shouldn't back up and leak, and we should be good. I think it takes about 1.6, 1.8 litres. Nice and slow. A leak down there. No leak there. It's a win. Well, I found 2 sources. One said 1.6 to 1.8 and one says 2 litres. So we've got 2 litres. We're a litre down. Just going to pull the pipe out just to make sure that that pipe's not stopping it coming out. But I think it's going to take at least a 1.8. It is on a hill, so we're going to have to be careful we don't overfill it, which is why the engine oil I will not do until we've took it off the axle stands, because I need to make sure that's level. And that's correct. Gearbox, people might say they're not happy with having a little bit more in there, but as long as you're not filling it to create loads of weird pressure, I think a little bit more might always help. Well, there you go. It's taken just over 1 litre. That litre was at the top there. Just over 1.6 litres. So we had 1.6 to 2 litres. It's just taken 1.6. I can't turn it over in gear yet to get the gears all soaked in it, because the engine oil's not in there yet. But when I can, I'm going to run it, and then I should be able to get to that plug and just make sure that it is still the same level. It may need topping up when it spreads around the gearbox a little bit. But now to clean up under there and take the front bumper off to clean the intercooler. So because to get the intercooler off, I might as well leave it on the jacks because it's just a little bit easier to work with getting the bumper off, etc. I'm going to put some oil in it. It says roughly about 4.5. What we've just learned about the gearbox, online sources are a little bit different. So I'm going to put about 3 litres in it, just in case I ever forget to put any oil in it. I'm going to put it in it now, so there can't be any slip-ups. Then we're going to get the front bumper off and get the intercooler off. Intercooler's off. I'm just going to get a screwdriver and straighten some of these fins here, which obviously took a bit of a battering at the bottom. You see where most of the air's going. And then there's not too much oil in there, so I don't think I'll have to clean it. So I've had the intercooler stood up and not much oil's come out of it. There's a little bit on the intake, which I know the turbo's starting to wear, we know that. But there's an old turbo that came with the car, so that's why I had reason to believe there could be oil in there, because that old turbo is shot. I'm just going to run a little bit of white spirits through and see what happens there, and then maybe flush the whole thing with a lot of white spirit. But I'm just going to see what comes out And then I'm going to paint. It's not going to be great. I'm not going to primer or anything. I'm just going to paint a little bit of spray, a bit of black paint on that bit, the bottom bit that's been hammered by the stones, just to tighten it up a little bit. Now I've gone backwards on the putting the holes in the bumper for the intercooler due to the ram bar cannot just be taken off the crash bar. It's attached to all the fan cowling, so that's more of a winter project to redesign the bump bar and also how the front of the car stays in there without the bump bar attached. So for now, we're going to have we're not going to put any extra holes in the bumper because the bump bar is right behind the number plate. So just dropped a bit of white spirit in there. I'm just literally giving it a shake. This intercooler is pretty cool because it's all in and out on one side. You can fill it up easily now to, like, if you had to block this end and put it in that end. So I'm going to give it a shake, let it work its magic, and then tip it out in a couple of minutes. Now it's not thick, guys, but that is the colour of what's just come out of there. So I'm going to run some through a few more times, then a bit of water, and then let it evaporate before we put it back on. We're getting so much done on day one of operation 13. So while that just soaks a bit with the white spirit in, and we're gonna have to leave it to dry before we put it back on. This is the cowling that for some reason I thought was a gearbox, like a cooler for the turbo, but after a bit of research, it sits in there with the air filter going through. The map air sensor bolts to the back of here, and it sits there. So then hopefully from here, direct the air straight to it and also keep the heat from the gearbox and the engine away from the intake. So once again, maybe helping with slightly cooler air temperature. Right, you all know the story about this car. If you don't, head back to 3 months ago and watch the first ever video and work your way through. But we've just taken the MAF off, the mass airflow sensor, to start putting this cowling on. And I realised that the arrow was facing the wrong way. Also, they've cut all the mesh out of there, which obviously stops all the dirt and whatever else. Now the car doesn't run, apart from starting up first turn of the key, it's a bit, I think race cars do it. I'm going to look up now, but if it's been mapped like that, then obviously it's getting more air as long as you keep the air filter on. It's not disrupting the airflow, which 14.1. But what I am going to do is, if you know if there is a benefit for turning the MAF sensor the wrong way, let me know and I'll turn it back. But I am going to try and put it the right way and see if it runs any different. I can't believe the car runs so well if it should go a certain way, but I'm going to put it back the way it should be and see if it makes, hopefully not any difference, but yeah. I feel like I should just put it back running the right way, to be honest. So once you put back on as an arrow, it shows you which way, and it was that way. So it needs to go this way. And then these two bolt holes can be bolted onto here, and then airflow on there. Now I was going to build a box for it. I might adapt to this to make it more of a cage, so it is just the air coming in from the bonnet that it's getting. But this should, I could probably get some heat wrap too, which might help. Just keep some of the hotter air away, baby. Wow, so this job is getting even bigger. This catch can that was here, it was upside down, not right. It doesn't really gas to anywhere. So I'm gonna have to look where that needs to, I think it meant to gas back to this pipe here, back into the inlet. But for now, I'm just gonna put a cheeky little filter on here, because basically what happens is the oil goes in. Oh, sorry. The gases come in, and anything that's got carrying oil, it sits in the bottom of this, filters it, and then puts gases back out. So they weren't going anywhere anyway. So for now, I'm just going to put a filter on there because it wasn't even filtered. The Thompson Motorsport division doesn't yet have proper bolts, as in like posh ones, with like Allen's on the sub, Allen key on the heads or whatever. So we'll just use some nut and bolts. And then down here, it fits onto that rubber there. And then this is damaged and the thread's missing. So we've just used a lightweight motorsport fastener on there, not a cable tie. So we're going to find somewhere to mount this and pipe it back up, put a filter on there. This is in, bolt that back up, and then we can carry on where we left off with the intercooler. Right, so it's not pretty. We put the catch can here and the filter here. It's not pretty at all. You say, Sam, why don't you just wait and go and find out where that pipe should go, etc. Because I always vouch that this car wouldn't sit on the drive with bits missing off it where it can't be moved. So it will be maybe in the winter or in the next couple of weeks or months that we'll put different pipe in and we'll find out what's meant to go where and move it from here because it's not the best position for it. But for now, it's just running the same as it was. It's just out the way because it was in the way of this heat shield that we've put on for the ram air. And it'll do for now to get the car back together, get the intercooler back on, but it can move backwards and forwards and it can go off the drive. Because like I say, that's what I vouched, that it wouldn't just sit looking like it's broken. Uh-oh, put it back in then. Archie, there it goes in this one. There you go. Good boy, that's all the way up. Well, she's running and I did not expect to get all that done today. Engine oil, gearbox oil, cleaned out the intercooler, fitted the airbox or heat shield and moved that catch cam, which I've been wanting to move that catch cam for a bit. It's not where I want it, but I had to move it for the heat shield. But that is a massive chunk off that list for all the maintenance bits done. Now we go into the aerodynamic bit. Can't put the cooler holes for the cooling system on the intercooler because of that front guard, so we scratched that off the list for now. So the next bit will be to fill in these sections here. And Luke Stevenson from European Front Wheel Drive has just had some nice carbon fibre ones made. And I was going to use Foamex board, but I've actually found some cheap from Facebook Marketplace, like a chrome plastic. So for now, they're going to be chrome. And then so are when I do the wind mirrors, take these off, I'm going to cover these here with chrome as well. So very positive day, big steps for Operation 13. Guys, please like, share, subscribe. It helps the channel. Please, there's still 85% of you that watch the videos that aren't subscribed. So please make sure you subscribe. It helps the algorithm and gets the videos pushed further. So yeah, see you guys on the flip side. Spuds.